Hello. Did you say it's time for the message for fourth grade reading? It's time for fourth grade reading. The message. Did I get the message? I don't know what you're talking about. What message? What message are you talking about? What's this? Did I get the message? Why do I have another message? And another message? Oh, yeah, I got the message. Oh, okay. It's time for fourth grade reading. Hey, get your work, get your materials, get your notebook and your pencil, and let's get going. I can't wait to see you. I actually get to take my mask off because I'm inside, but we are having to wear all of these things now. So I wanted to, you know, acknowledge it. Got a lot going on to keep ourselves safe. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So once again, I'm Mrs. Butcher, and I am so excited to see you. Okay, fourth grade reading. We're doing our word work warm up, our read aloud, reading skill and mini lesson, of course, and then a little exit ticket to make sure we understand, and then our wrap up and shout outs. Okay, today we're focusing on context clues. So we're going to look all around the sentences and at these different strategies to see if we can determine relevant meaning of unfamiliar words. And this is my favorite. We are going to be working with inferring theme using text evidence. We are going to try to infer the message. Wait, did I get the message? I got the message. The message for our readings. And we've got Aesop's Fables. Okay, so our word work warm up. Context clues. So just like we've been going over before, we had a couple of the photographs and captions. I just wanted to remind you that good readers use clues in the text and visuals to help find meaning of unfamiliar words. So you can use word parts where you're looking, what is that? Pod, ped equals foot, or like a prefix or a suffix. Those are called affixes, so roots and affixes. Or you can use examples, definitions, text features and graphic features, visuals with labels, or synonyms and antonyms, all help you understand the meaning of unfamiliar words. So I do want to go into these, each part, so that we can, get up on our game here. So if we're looking at word parts and we're thinking, the quadrupeds wagged their tails at their biped owners. I'm thinking quadruped, biped. I'm thinking ped. Let's see, ped and pedestrian, pedicure, ped. Ped has to do with foot. Pod and ped both have to do with foot. Tripod. So the quadruped, that's the four-leggeds wagged their tails at their biped owners. And I know bi, of course, is two, from bicycle has two wheels, biped owners, so the humans basically. So I can figure that one out. Over here, the definitions. We could say, okay, what's just a definition? You may get the meaning of an unfamiliar word because they literally give you the definition. The theme is the main message, lesson, or moral of the text. There, just said, what's the theme? The message or the lesson. Okay, or you can have visuals with labels, like no bikes. No bikes. It probably means it's pedestrians only, ped. Or you can have something like some kind of diagram with your things. You're doing this in science and math and reading, but and you're saying, okay, this is the leaf, and you point to it. Where's the stem? Oh, there it is. And here's the root. So you're using your diagram and labels, and that helps you determine the meanings. Or you could go to something like we did last week, the examples. So in this one, it said, in response to the COVID-19 pandemic, many states asked all residents to stay at home unless they were essential. So I have to know, what does essential mean? Or absolutely necessary workers. Gosh, there's commas. That's setting it off as a positive. It's giving it as an example. So unless they were essential or absolutely necessary workers, these frontline workers became our nation's heroes. And so we know these essential workers are also heroes. And then we go along and we can figure it out that way. And we figured out it wasn't that they were important. Not only were they important, they were extremely important because of the word absolute. And then over here, we have text features and graphic features, something we've been working with. I will move this little guy. And up here it said, do you remember this? A graphic feature just means like a picture or an image. And we've got these bees, these busy bees, and it says in the caption, which is a text feature, these essential workers continue their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic. They continue their jobs. So we looked at the text features, which was the caption, the graphic features, which was the picture, and we read the text. And with all of those clues, we figured out essential didn't just mean busy, like busy bees. The trick. You didn't want to fall for the trick, did you? But it meant essential during the pandemic. Essential, they were absolutely necessary. And you go back to these other things. That's how you put all those together. Or you can figure out the meaning of something through synonyms or antonyms. Like she was frigid or cold, blah, blah, blah. And so you get your synonyms there. Okay, let's see if you're an expert now. I think you are. We are doing so well. Okay, so we're going to do the first one, which is called word parts. So we did pod and ped equals foot. Let's see how you're doing. Feline quadrupeds who often meow are usually not fans of the canine variety. Okay, what the heck are they meaning? What does this mean? I want you to think about the clues and figure out what this sentence means. Who are the feline quadrupeds? All right, let's check it out. So feline quadrupeds who often meow. Oh, I just saw something. They often meow. Well, who meows? A cat. So I know quadruped, ped means foot, and here's a little picture of a dog. A quadruped is four-footed, so feline quadrupeds who often meow, well, I'm sorry, but dogs do not meow, so we're looking at cats here, are usually not fans of the canine variety. Canine teeth, canine variety. Okay, well, what do we know about cats? They're usually not fans of dogs. So I know that I'm right on that one, and I figured that out from my word parts, quadruped, from ped. Okay, next. See if you can do this. I want all bipeds in the room to stand up. Did you stand? Yep, you're a biped. How many feet do you have? 2. Bi, like bicycle, 2. Okay, now here we go. Let's see if we can figure this one out. The crossing guard helped the school-age pedestrians cross the street safely. Pedestrians. I know, you got it. Pod means foot, so we know that these kids are on motorcycles. Wait, didn't you get the message? We're paying attention here. We're paying attention here? Okay. Word parts, ped, pod equals foot. They're not on motorcycles. What are they on? Okay. The school-age pedestrians crossed the street safely, and we had a crossing guard. Okay, I get it. That means they were walking on foot. I think you got it too. All right, let's try again. Let's see, here's my check for understanding. Ooh, yeah. Okay, the quadruped wagged his tail when his biped keeper gave him a treat for a trick. What is the meaning of quadruped in the above sentence? Is it A, trainer, B, cat, C, dog, D, veterinarian? Let's read this again. We're determining our context clues. Okay. The quadruped wagged his tail when his biped keeper gave him a treat for a trick. I'm going to come over here and get my little. Okay. I want you to go ahead and pick your answer. Think about the context clues. The quadruped wagged his tail. Okay, how'd you do? Did you get A, B, C, or D? Let's go back to it. The quadruped, so I know ped is foot, right? Ped is foot, ped or pod. And I know quad has to do with four. So I have a four-footed something wagged his tail. Ooh, that's a clue. Wagged his tail. This is really sneaky here. When his biped keeper, biped, here's that word ped again. Ped, that means foot. Well, I know that a bicycle has two wheels. Bicycle, here's my little bicycle. Oh my goodness, this is a terrible little bicycle. Looks like it has a tail. Anyway, a bicycle has two wheels, so that means that's a two-footed something. Two-footed keeper gave him a treat for a trick. Ah, so the quadruped wagged his tail. Trainer, no, the quadruped is not the trainer, the biped is the person. So that's out. Cat, dog, and veterinarian. No, the person's out. They're not four-legged. So is it the cat or the dog? I know. The tail gave it away. Wagged his tail. Literally, cats have tails, but they're not the wagging sort. So that doesn't work. Okay, see, that background knowledge is helpful. Okay, I'm actually going to move on in the interest of time. Oh, I've got to do this one. It's just so good. Oh, this is to my school. Longfellow, see my shirt? Longfellow. The Longfellow school bus bumps along the dirt road where the street was being repaired. Okay, we have to determine the meaning of bumps. And we're thinking as we go back to our context, are we looking here this time for any of these other things? Word parts, examples, definitions, synonyms, antonyms? Let's find out. Here we are. The Longfellow school bus bumps along the dirt road where the street was being repaired. What's the meaning of the word bumps as it's used in the sentence above? Go ahead and make your choice. A, to bounce along. B, to run against. C, to raise up. Or D, to run into. All right, are you ready to support your answer with your context clue text evidence? Here we go. Show me on your fingers. When I say 3, I want you to say 1, 2, 3, or 4, for which one it is. So if it's A, it's 1. If it's B, it's 2. If it's C, it's 3. If it's D, it's 4. Ready? 1, 2, 3, show me. Let's see how you did. Okay. So the bus bumps along the dirt road. I'm going to go ahead and take my little pen. If it bumps along the dirt road, dirt tells us something where the street was being repaired. I use my background knowledge. I'm thinking it's probably not smooth. So does it mean to bounce along, to run against, to raise up, or to run into? Well, I know that the bus is banging into these potholes is what I'm thinking. But let me make sure I've got it right. Bumps along the dirt road. Is it bouncing along? Is it running against? Not in this case, not running against, that's wrong. To raise up, okay, it could bump up like a bump on your arm. Is that what it is? No, because we're talking about it's bumping along the dirt road. So it's not raising up like a bump on your arm if you get a mosquito bite. Is it running into the dirt road? Well, when you look at the word into, that doesn't work either. It is running into it as it bumps. So our best answer is to bounce along, bouncing up and down, up and down, up and down. Don't you love my drawings? I know. I make my students feel so good because I can't draw worth anything and they can draw so well. Okay, let me keep going because I love the slideshow part. It's called page turn, and that's called, I forget, like wrapper or something. It's reading time. Okay, so what I want you to do now is you have a thinking job. I want you to think about the plot elements that we talked about last time. You know, tensions building. You start off and then you've got the rising action because you have a conflict, builds and builds and builds and builds till you have a turning point, which is the climax. And then you go down the falling action. So I want you to listen for the climax or the turning point. And I want you to think about, how does a character react? And does a character grow or have an aha moment? Okay. Does a character grow and have an aha moment? So I want you to think about that. What's an aha moment? Well, have you ever kind of gone along, you're doing your thing, and you're doing your thing the same way, and you kind of, something keeps messing up. You go along, you keep doing it, you mess up again. Go along, you keep doing it, and maybe it's not even messing up. Maybe it's just kind of running into conflict with the same kind of person. Messing up or running into conflict. You're like, what is going on? I can't figure this out. Then you start to think, I do. Wait a minute. What's in my circle of control? I'm going to take a deep breath, and how can I be proactive as opposed to reactive? Well, right there, you empowered yourself. I empowered myself, and we learned a lesson to boot. It's an aha moment as opposed to letting things just happen to you. So that's what we're looking for in the story. Stories are really interesting because we have conflicts. They have problems, right? Remember, the reader would just snore if there was no problem. Can you imagine going to a movie and just looking at the beautiful setting and just looking at the characters who are so happy? Okay, actually, it sounds pretty nice, given 2020 and all that it's bringing. But let's think about that. You're still waiting for something. Would you really wait and watch that movie for 2.5 hours or 2 hours if there was nothing to work out? Honestly, you'd probably be on your phone or talking to your friend, or you're out the room getting some more popcorn. So you need the problem. And the cool thing is we get to look at those stories and figure out how other people or animals work things out. And in this case, we're going to have a couple fables to learn, to look at, to analyze for some lessons. Okay, going back to my PowerPoint. All right, so we're tracking the plot elements, and does the character have an aha moment like you did when you figured something out, when it all started clicking? Okay, so here we go. Oh, our read aloud is disappearing. It's disappearing. Okay, so what I also want you to think about is I'm actually introducing this vocab word, the academic vocab word to you called the theme or the message. You remember what I was doing? I didn't get the message at first. I didn't get the message. I had these sticky notes on my head. I didn't get the message when someone called me. So the message is actually the theme. It's the lesson or moral of a text. And guess what? It can be stated like this. In fables and myths, they actually might tell you the theme. Or it can be implied, where it's kind of like with the context clues. You use some other clues to help figure out what the author's trying to tell you. What's the character learning? And why is it important? And is there kind of a lesson here? So it's really fun. You get to be a detective. I love being a detective. I also love puzzles, so it works. So I want you to write in you're writing down in your anchor chart, in your journal, theme, the message. And I love this. I like to put it like this. Theme is the message. See that? It's right there. Theme equals the message, and it's already in the words. It's my mnemonic. It helps you memorize it. Mnemonic means helping your memory. Lesson or moral of the story. But guess what? When you're figuring out the lesson, you're also making it bigger. So you make it universal. It's not just that it's one person. Like we just read last week about Robert in the challenge, and he learned to become, he learned that he'd broken his drum and he had used knives and forks for drumsticks and it broke his drum. And ultimately, he had to learn to be responsible. If we had put for the theme, Robert learned to become more responsible by washing his clothes for 2 whole months. That's very specific to the story. The theme is something that everybody can relate to, or you may not relate to, but it applies to anyone. So you don't use the name, you talk about the big idea, the big idea. So it's big and universal. So instead of Robert learned to become more responsible by washing his clothes, you would actually just cross out Robert and you're focusing on responsibility. He did learn to become more responsible. And wait, it was 2 whole months. I remember how he felt. I remember he was astonished by everything. And then he changed. So really it got to never give up or be responsible. Something that's a bigger idea that more people can relate to. Okay. All right. So now to determine the theme, you're actually looking for the text evidence, which we're getting to. What did the character learn? And you're making it big. That's how you make the theme. So common themes are, what's the author trying to teach me? That's what you're thinking about. Be kind to others. Friends are important. And don't give up. Things like that. Or can you think of some others? What's the one about treating other people how you, something like that. Well, here we go to the crow and the pitcher. I love these Aesop's fables, and we actually get to read these online. There's all sorts of copyright issues with reading online, but with this one, the Library of Congress has enabled us to read these online and out to the wherever this is, the TV stations, because they're in the public domain now. So I want you to listen now. As you listen to the crow and the pitcher, I want you to think about your what's the character learning? Go back to your thinking jobs. How does the character react? And does a character grow or have an aha moment? In a spell of dry weather, when the birds could find very little to drink, a thirsty crow found a pitcher with a little water in it. But the pitcher was high and had a narrow neck. Narrow, by the way, narrow means, whoops, go back to narrow. Narrow means really skinny. So he had a narrow neck right there, narrow, pretty skinny. And no matter how he tried, the crow could not reach the water. So he tried so hard, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't do it. The poor thing felt as he must die of thirst. Have you ever been that thirsty where you need to drink? He needs to drink. Doesn't anybody understand? He needs to drink, but he can't do it. So he's trying so hard. So guess what? It's not working. So what's he going to do? Give up? No, he's got to drink. Okay. So then an idea came to him. That's his aha, right? That's his lightning bolt. This is my really terrible, that's my little electricity bulb. His aha moment. You see that? On the light bulb, an idea came to him. Stop. What do you think he did? What do you think he did? What do you think he did? What would you do to get the water out? Okay. Picking up some small pebbles. I love this. He dropped them into the pitcher one by one. With each pebble, the water rose a little higher. Oh, let me think about this. Wait. Is it going to work? Until at last, it was near enough so he could drink. Okay, so he had a problem. What did he learn? He learned, well, he tried all these different ways and it didn't work. Did he give up? Then he figured out that one more way. So I'm wondering, that was what he learned, to not give up, but also he figured out this rock thing. That was really, I'm calling that clever. That was really clever. So the idea here is you would say, what's my text evidence? What did the character learn? And what's the theme? So an idea came to him, picking up small pebbles. He dropped them into the pitcher one by one. Okay, so he dropped these small pebbles into the pitcher one by one. What did he learn? With each pebble, the water rose a little higher until at last it was near enough so he could drink. So what did he learn? Well, he didn't give up. Let's see. So I'm not going to say for my theme, the crow did not give up. Don't give up like the crow. I would say something like, continue to be clever, or never give up, or let me see what this one is, how they did it. In a pinch, a good use of our wits may help us out. So our wits means our mind, our cleverness. Okay. All right. I'm going to do another one. So the gnat in the bowl. Actually, I'm looking at time and I'm going to do this one, the dog and his reflection, because then we have our exit ticket. Okay, the dog and his reflection. A dog to whom, I'll read it, I'll make it really big so you can see it. A dog to whom the butcher had thrown a bone was hurrying home with his prize as fast as he could go. As he crossed a narrow, here's that word again, narrow bridge, he happened to look down and saw himself reflected in the quiet water as if in a mirror. Let me look at this picture. There he is. I see two dogs. Is that really two dogs? But, that's our big word. The greedy dog thought he saw a real dog carrying a bone much bigger than his own. Okay, hold on. What do you think's going to happen here? I got to look at your face. What do you think's going to happen? He thinks that the other dog has a bone bigger than his. I can already tell something about his personality, and it did say greedy because it's one of these fables. So what's he going to do? Is there a lesson to be learned? Is he going to change? I don't know. There's only like one more paragraph. Let's find out. But we know something. There's an issue. He's greedy, and we know it's going to get him into trouble. That's what I'm thinking. I'll go back to the story now. Okay, I'm putting on my glasses, and I'm thinking of my message. My message. What's my message again? The message. I'm looking for the message. Now I can't even find the PowerPoint. Hold on. Here we are. Okay. If he had stopped to think, let's go back. If he had stopped to think, he would have known better. But instead of thinking, he dropped his bone. He dropped his bone. He dropped his bone and sprang. That means he jumped at the dog in the river, only to find himself swimming for dear life to reach the shore. That's like the banks. At last, he managed to scramble out. Oh my gosh. What do you think? Did he have the bone or not? And as he stood sadly thinking about the good bone he had lost, he realized, there's that word, that aha moment, what a stupid dog he had been, or silly, or greedy. So I'm looking at the text evidence and I'm thinking, how do I figure out the theme? Whoops. So I think what I'll do here is I'll say, okay. He'd stopped to think he would have known better. If he had stopped to think he would have known better, but instead of thinking, he dropped his bone, right? He did all that. At last he managed to scramble out, and as he stood sadly thinking about the good bone, he realized what a stupid dog he had been. But he should have known better, that it was a mirror, that he was greedy, that there was a dog carrying a bone much bigger than his own. And he lost it. So I'm thinking, what did the character learn? He realized what a stupid dog he'd been because he stood sadly thinking about the good bone he'd lost because he was greedy. So I could say, okay, here we go. The dog was greedy and he lost his bone, but that's not big. That's not universal. So let's make it bigger. So the dog was greedy and he lost his bone. Now we take out the dog and we say something like, something about greedy. Being greedy can, if you're greedy, you can lose everything. If you're greedy, watch out for what you wish for. If you're greedy, it's very foolish to be greedy. So being greedy is foolish, or it's very foolish to be greedy, something along those lines, something having to do with greedy. You don't have to make it so old-fashioned like this. You get the idea. If you're greedy, you'll lose out, right? Kind of thing. Universal. Okay, guess what? It's time for your exit ticket. Now let's see what you know after we've practiced our theme. So, your exit ticket is The Lion and the Mouse. I love this one. I love it. So go ahead, and on your piece of paper, I want you to be thinking about, or actually you can either write it down or you're listening and you're thinking of the clues. Okay. A lion lay asleep in the forest, his great head resting on his paws. A timid, little, shy, scared little mouse came up upon him unexpectedly. And in her fright and haste to get away, so in a hurry to get away, she ran across the lion's nose. Uh-oh, she ran on his nose, the lion's nose. Roused from his nap, the lion laid his huge paw angrily on the tiny creature to kill her. I mean, how extreme? I don't get it. Spare me. That means don't take me. Spare me. Begged the poor mouse. Please let me go, and someday I will surely repay you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You think the lion ever thinks she's going to repay him? Forget it. The lion was much amused to think that a mouse could ever help him. But he was generous and finally let the mouse go. So, he's like feeling in the giving kind of mood, feeling like he didn't want to eat a little mouse right then. And he finally let the mouse go. Some days later, while stalking his prey in the forest, that means he's hunting it, the lion was caught in the toils of a hunter's net. He got all wrapped up in a net. Unable to free himself, he filled the forest with his angry roaring. The mouse knew the voice and quickly found the lion struggling in the net. Running to one of the great ropes that bound him, she gnawed, keep gnawing on it, until it parted, and soon the lion was free. Ha! You laughed when I said I would repay you, said the mouse. Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion. Now you see that even a mouse can help a lion. Here's your text evidence. Find it. What did the character learn? And then, what do you think the theme is? I'm going to leave you on that note because it's time to wrap up. You're going to finish this after the show's over. You'll have to come back and watch some more. And just want to say, find the text evidence. What did the character learn? Make it big so it's a theme, and shout out to HISD students, families, staff, and everyone working together to make virtual learning for our students a success. It's taken so many people and great minds and such collaboration. It's just amazing to see how we are all working together, all people from all over to make this education happen in this really unusual time. I know I got to put this back on. It's time for me to go back outside, but I'm not going to forget my message. The message, the message, the message. What's the theme? I don't know. You can always look for it. I'll see you next week. Bye.